Hello, and welcome to 5 Minute Math. Today we are looking at the Algebra 1 concept of evaluating functions with the standard A.12B in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 17 of the 2025 released STAAR test. This is a new item type called Equation Editor. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and we will look at our answers together. All right, so we've got this function, and we just need to type in our answer. There's no A, B, C, or D for us to choose from. Now, there is a notation that we're using here that sometimes we get a little bit too familiar with, and then we get thrown a curveball like this, and we're not quite sure what it means. So let's slow down and take a look at what this means. So f of x equals 3 times the quantity x minus 4 squared minus 7. So that seems normal. We're used to seeing that. And some of us just think, oh, that f of x, that just means y. And a lot of times this f of x can be replaced with y, right? And we're just kind of using that in our position that we would do for a y. But then when we get this f of x or f of minus 1, we might get a little bit confused as to what that means. So let's take a look at what this means. F of minus 1 or f of negative 1, however you want to say it. You notice that the only clue that we have here is it's got an f in front of it. So the f of x is simply the function of x. And what is the value when we have an x and we don't have anything? But the f of negative 1 means we are now going to substitute in this negative 1 for the x. And so we're going to evaluate a specific value for x. What we have here is just the equation that we could use, right? If we wanted to evaluate any value for x, but when we want to get specifically into one value of x, we will show it like this, f of negative 1, and then that negative 1 is going to replace the x. And so all we need to do is plug that in and put it where the x is. So let's do this. F of negative 1 equals, we're going to copy all of this down, 3, and then we're going to get negative 1 minus 4 squared, and then we've got a minus 7. So this change right here is really all that the f of negative 1 means, is we're going to take this negative 1 and we're going to place it where that x is. And sometimes you might have a quadratic, right? And you would have to put it in two different spots. So for example, if you had f of x equals 3x squared minus 5x plus 4, and if you wanted to evaluate f of 6, you would need to plug it into both x's. So it would be 3 times 6 squared minus 5 times 6 plus 4. So you would need to evaluate it in both different locations. So that's how that works. All right, so let's come back to our original. We've got f of negative 1 equals 3 times the quantity, negative 1 minus 4 squared minus 7. So we're going to use our PEMDAS here. And we're going to make sure that we have our inside of parentheses first. What we've got is just we've got a negative 1 minus 4, so that's a negative 5. So we've done inside the parentheses. Now we do have an exponent. We need to go ahead and take care of this negative 5 squared. That's like negative 5 times negative 5. So that's going to be 3 times negative 5 times negative 5. If you want, you can just go ahead and collapse that. That's going to be 25. The two negatives make a positive, right? So we still have multiplication to do. I got 3 times 25. That's going to be 75. And then I need to take away 7. That's going to be, excuse me, 68. All right, so f of negative 1 collapses down to 68. Now, we need to type this in. No equation here, so you notice we don't have any operations. We're simply just typing in our numbers, but it is a little bit more challenging because there's no way to verify whether we got it right or wrong because we can't double check with A, B, C, or D.